everyone, today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster run, the doubles Lair with Warlock. For my subclass, I'll be using the Strand Warlock. For my kinetic, I'll be using a bow, which shoot to loot, an explosive payload. Next I'll be using Monarque, and for my heavy Taipan. This week I decided to go for the Strand Warlock, and I'm going to be sparing my way. Get out of my way, this Acolyte. And we're going to skip the Overload Champion. And we will still get Platinum, so don't worry about it. For some reason, it's always been like this since the beginning. You can skip the Overload Champion and still get Platinum. Yes, I know, it's pretty hilarious, but it works. And it saves so much time, especially with your fire team. So I'm going to Weavewalk all the way from the backside so I can deal with the twirly barrier champion. I mean, wow. It hasn't even been a minute, and already this barrier champion is doing ballerina twirls. I didn't do it on purpose, but I swear to the bungee. And yes, I know you can also use your melee attack, but I don't have it. I'm mostly just focusing on the Weavewalk more than spamming the melee build so I can deal with the barrier champions. So that's basically why I haven't really used it in my videos so much. But yes, I am using two bows. I could have used a auto rifle, I could have used other kinetic, but I want to try out this bow because I haven't used it for a really long time. That's also one of the main reasons. And I really want to try out just using two bows for the solo run. I don't think I've done it so much for this season. I have done the all bow long time ago with Curiosity Warlock. Pretty fun, by the way. Triple bow with a subclass. So there will be an Overload Champion, and thanks to the bungee, it doesn't do twirly ballerina dances, but it loves to teleport. And sometimes it can be buggy. For me, I just really love Monarque because I can deal with the Overload Champions way more consistent. And everyone is different. And yes, I'm not using Wish Ender. Isn't that a surprise? I mean, you can use Wish Ender for this GM. I just didn't use it because I wanted an easier time to deal with the Overload Champions. That's basically about it. But yeah, isn't this fantastic? I mean, we get to deal with another twirly barrier champion up ahead. We're going to be spamming a lot of threatenings. And yes, I know this bow is, it's decent. I mean, it's better than the Stasis exotic bow. I mean, at least I can do damage to the barrier champion shield compared to the exotic Stasis bow. Let's just be completely honest. Alright, I tested out. And that bow sucks. Okay, I don't like the bow. I hate it, by the way. I tried it, by the way, for Scarlet Keep. I tried it for other runs. It just wasn't for me. So first things first, there'll be an Overload Champion from the left side. I usually like to go to the back, but for this footage, I really just want to stay around here, deal with the snipers. I think I forgot the snipers, so make sure you take down these snipers first and then deal with the wizards. After that, then you can deal with the Overload Champion. You can also combo the barrier champions with the melee. I didn't really do it so much for this run. As I said before, I was just focusing the Weavewalk build than the melee, because I know some players can be extremely sensitive when I'm not using this or that. Like, oh, my traveler and the speaker. Alright, it's just a game. It's just Destiny. But anyway, we're going to take down the Arc Captain. And we're going to be scouting left and right. Make sure there's no ballerina twirls out of nowhere. And yes, mines. I don't know if I told anyone this, but one time on my hunter, I was at the boss fight and the mine actually one-shot me. Yeah, I know, it's pretty sad. It was on my stasis hunter. I was so confused and speechless, and I wasn't really sure how I got one-shot, but yes, destiny bugs. You can also go to the other opposite side, but I just decided to go over here because, well, everyone's different. Everyone's playstyle is different. So Overlord champions, they always walk up here, and Monarque is just an amazing weapon. Now, if you do have your melee, you can use it towards the Overlord champions. You can also, like I said, use the melee for the barrier champions. You don't really need your Weavewalk so much for this area or for this section or with the mini waves. Now, the one thing you must be aware is the snipers. Snipers are actually going to be your worst enemy for this run. And the wizards as well, especially when they do run off to the middle of the map. Yeah, I know, it's pretty scary. And you're probably wondering, why do I have special ammo? Well, short and sweet, it's because of the artifact mod that I'm using with the Tangle orbs. Because of the artifact mods, for some reason, I'm also getting heavy bricks, which is good, but as well with the special bricks. It's a pretty cool artifact mod. I forgot the name, but it really helps out if you are using a special weapon, but for this footage, I'm not. So make sure you use your weapon, your exotic bow, Monarque, to take down the vandals, because we're going to go to the next wave. We're still defending the ghosts, and I'm really happy that we don't have to huddle the ghosts like in Battlegrounds. We can leave the ghosts alone. It can be independent. It could be on its own. It can solo scan. We don't have to defend it close by. We can just hide and shoot and deal with the wizards up ahead that will spawn during this wave. Once you take down 2 of the wizards, or depending on the ads, mainly the wizards, I would say, the barrier champions should spawn. You can melee, you can use your linear fusion rifle, and of course, don't forget, always use your super dealing with the barrier champion. So you'll see right here, I use my melee, alright, for the guardian trolls. And you can also deal with the barrier champion right up ahead, stagger it, use your super. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to focus on the Weavewalk build. I didn't really focus on the melee towards barrier champions to break the shield. Now, there are times where sometimes I forget that I'm using Monarque, I'm using the kinetic. And then there's times where I'm trying to deal with the barrier champion, but then I'm using the Monarque. It's kind of funny. I was just trying to see where are all these ads. So I see them up ahead and I can just spam Monarque. Now there are times where I switch to my kinetic bow, especially dealing with the explosive shanks. For some reason it does more damage than Monarque. I don't know why, but hey, maybe it's because it has explosive payload. I'm not really sure, but that's, for some reason it works and I just go with the flow. Now I am just trying to deal with the fallen captains And just be aware of the Arc Seekers. The Arc Seekers will be your worst enemy when you are at this area. You can spam your Healing Drift, especially if you are using the Stag. Or you could use a different exotic, but I really love the Stag. It's one of my favorite exotics for the Warlock. And you're probably wondering what's going on over here. I was trying to see if the captain will push, and he did. So far, everything seems to be good to go. I just want to deal with the Arc Captain. Gosh, he just loves the teleport. Reminds me of Europa Grandmaster. Really hate battlegrounds, and yes, I will say that over and over until they sort it out. And yes, I do have shoot to loot on my connect bow. I actually forgot I had it. You can also pick up ammo and orbs, which is really good for Warlock and for Titan as well. I was trying to bait the Arc Captains. You can also just push and then just deal with them, but the problem is eventually we will spawn the Shanks, and this is when I was just switching to my kinetic weapon. For some reason it was doing more damage than my Monarque. Plus I was getting these Tangle Orbs, and they were doing a lot of damage because of the artifact mod. But like I said, you don't need to use your Weavewalk at all for this section. You could just spam your melee, dealing with the champions, especially the barrier ones. But wow, isn't this really fun? I really love the Strand Warlock as well for the Titan. I might try out the Hunter, but I'm not really sure. I really want to take a break and just relax. And yeah, basically double Lair. But we do have an Overload champion, and Monarque just saves the day because it won't teleport left and right with this weird glitch where it teleports and then it regains its health. Now it's really interesting. I have so much heavy that I barely use my linear. Barely used it. But you can see that with this build, you will always have so much heavy, especially for this season. So there is just no questions of any player to not have heavy for Devil's Lair. It would be impossible for this build. If so, then probably bad luck from Bungie. Either that or the game is just trolling. So we're almost done with the wave. You just have to clear down the vandals, the snipers. And of course, don't forget, be aware of the gold bar vandal sniper. And they have a lot of health. I do recommend just use your Monarque, or if you want to, use your linear fusion. I was trying to bait this sniper from far distance so it can show off its face and I can just snipe it. But yeah, they are extremely stubborn, and there is snipers from the left side. That's why I didn't push to run towards the sniper. So once we finish the wave, you could just Weavewalk and then just ignore these snipers. And then when you do Weavewalk, you'll get the minions or the threatenings. Around 5 of them, which will do so much work for you. They will take down the ads. They will do damage to the champion, which is what we want, to be honest. Just be careful with this vandal up ahead and the Arc Seekers from the Overload champion. Just remember to combo with your linear and then Monarque. Now for this footage, I didn't really do it so much, but if you want to speed run, which I know a lot of players like to do that, you could just combo it with Monarque and with the linear fusion rifle. Now this is probably the most boring area I have ever seen. Well, it's not that it's boring, but it's just the Brigs. And then we got a tank. Then we got these snipers at the top, which you must take down as quickly as possible before this servitor starts to immune them. Now this is actually the perfect time to use your melee. I didn't really use it for this footage so much. Like I said, I didn't really focus too much of it, more of the Weavewalk. Alright. But just be careful when dealing with the barrier champion. You can see here, I messed up my super. So my bad for that. I could have used my melee. So one thing you could do is use your melee. So just be super careful. And we all know that using your super at the windows for the Warlock is a no-go. Which I didn't know, by the way. This was actually my first attempt. I did not know that the super for the Warlock, for the Strand, I didn't know that it wasn't going to go through the windows. Alright. I didn't know. I mean, it works for the Hunter, right? And it works for the other subclasses. But it doesn't work for this subclass, so my bad for that. Just be aware of the snipers from up ahead. The reason why I was doing the Weavewalk was to get the threatenings. And on purpose, I wanted to get red health from the snipers so I can pop a Helium Rift and then just spam Monarque. So once we deal with that, there's going to be snipers. Just be very careful with them. They can hurt you. They can hurt your poor guardian. And I must say, I was being extremely careless. So I decided to pull back to see where the snipers are because I couldn't really see them. They were hiding. And it looks like the best way would be standing here and then try to push a bit forward to deal with the snipers once you kill them one by one. Just be super aware of the Overload champion that will push. You do want to take down the Overload champion. I highly recommend. Now this is probably the best time to deal with Overload champion if you can. Just be careful with the solar attack. As you guys can see, there's different types of Overload champion. There's the solar right now. You see the Arc Seeker. And probably one that just shoots arc, but to be honest, they're not the most dangerous Overload champions. The most dangerous is the Scorn champions, the Overloads, because there's actually 5 types of them, which is scary. So I wanted to get on top of the roof so I can use my super. And hopefully nothing bad will happen. So I pull back and now we're going to deal with the Brig. He will walk up to the hill very soon. I want to first deal with him and then the Brig from the left side, hopefully. But you can see the damage for the super for the Strand wasn't really that bad, to be honest. It was pretty decent, not bad, and good enough for me. Now I'm waiting for this Brig to push so I can actually do damage, but you can see it likes to do this weird, awkward dodge. Eventually he will walk up to the hill. You can see this Brig is extremely awkward. So once its shield is broken, you can switch to your linear fusion rifle to do DPS if you want to, or you could just spam that Monarque. It depends of you. So once we deal with the first Brig, then we can deal with the next one. This one's pretty easy going. It just sometimes can dodge or hide behind a tree. Sometimes. Doesn't happen all the time, but yeah. This one really likes to hide behind a tree. You can see here, he's a little bit awkward spot. Normally, he doesn't really stand here too much. He usually goes from the right side, but for some reason on this footage, he was just all the way in the corner, hiding behind a tree. Because of that, and I just don't have time and the patience to deal with him, I just decided to go for the DPS with the walker. Now, if you see a ship, you can also shoot the turrets, which I didn't do so much because, well, I just got a little impatient. But this is me when I'm extremely want to get it done and over it. Then the Brig decided to move. Wow, isn't that just fantastic? I mean, look at that. It was just hiding behind a tree, and now it's going to the spot where it's supposed to be, because usually in all my runs, he just stands over here. He never really goes to the corner. But then for some reason in this footage, it decided to go behind a tree and hide like a bungee. I mean, kind of ridiculous, but this is rare. It doesn't really happen so much at all. You can also spam your melee as well, so you could do additional damage. But wow, isn't this guy stubborn as a bungee? I mean, it's pretty sad. I mean, why was it hiding behind the tree in the corner? Like, what is going on over here for this strike? I mean, wow. Unbelievable. I'm so speechless. So when we do take down the Brig, we're going to deal with the walker or the spider. Or the egg walker. Okay, joke aside. Are you going to do any time skip here? Once we deal with the walker, which wasn't really so bad. I mean, right now I'm just spamming a Monarque. Eventually, he will be taken down. Eventually. I mean, look at that. He has such a tiny health. There we go. We took him down. Isn't that great? And we got a lot of snipers from the right side, which I definitely need to take down, but I was losing my patience over here. So because I don't really want to bother myself dealing with the snipers too much, I'm going to go from the opposite direction to see if I can lure them on the left side. Now what you can do is you can go and do DPS at the snipers from the beginning, from far distance, if you have patience. No, I don't have patience so much, especially for this season. All right, let's just be honest. 3 battlegrounds. All right, it takes all of my energy, and it just puts me in a bad mood. So because of that, because of battlegrounds being a pain in the bungee, I don't have the patience, and this is probably pretty dangerous. So just be super careful with the snipers, or you can just take down the snipers first from far distance from the right side and then deal with the barrier champion. For this footage, no patience. This is just when you want to rush it. You don't want to deal with snipers so much. But yeah, this is gonna be extremely intense because now I'm just trying to deal with this barrier champion. You can also use your melee as well to deal with the barrier. I didn't really so much for this footage, well, when dealing with the barrier champion. Be careful with these invisible fallens, and then we got a ship. So as I said before, you can take down the turrets from the ship if you want to, if it is bothering you. Just be aware of standing at this spot. I don't like that spot behind this red barrel. I'm not really sure what it is, but I don't really like standing in that spot. It just gives me a lot of bad vibes. Now, I need to deal with the Overload Champion, and I felt like I was too close because I was hearing a lot of the fallen captains shooting solar at me as well, so I had to try to see if I could find a good angle to do DPS with the Overload Champion. Now, you can actually do DPS at the Overload Champion at the opposite side, but because I got so impatient and ran out of energy because of Battlegrounds, I just didn't do that method and just try to find other ways to deal with this Overload Champion. We still have a lot of snipers. You can see here there's more Overload Champions, but let's just be happy they're not these scorn Overload Champions, which I extremely despise. You can also combo it with your linear fusion rifle. In this footage, I was debating if I should use my linear or not, but take as much time as you can. You can see here that the Overload Champion is extremely aggressive, and it was trying its best to hide behind that wall so I won't take him down. Right now, I decided to use my super again. I mean, I was gonna save my super, but I don't think it was worth it, especially with the Overload Champion versus a bunch of ads and snipers. It wasn't worth it, so if you have your super and you want to use your super on the snipers and ads, then just use it. Just use it, spam as much as you can, and always remember to save your super for the boss fight. Highly recommend. So now we got another Overload Champion. My gosh, there's just so much. So many Overload Champions, I could just cannot believe it. But the good news is it's not Battlegrounds. And another good news, it's Devil's Lair. So it isn't really that bad. This strike is actually really fun to farm with your fire team. Especially if it is double loot. But unfortunately for this week, I don't think it's double loot. I mean, they always put double loot on the most cringiest toxic Grandmasters versus the most easygoing farmable Grandmasters. I don't know why. It's kind of awkward and questionable. I'm noticing a pattern for this season with double loot week. Anyway, there'll be 2 Overload Champions, and it's kind of awkward here because I remember, maybe I'm wrong, I could be wrong by the way, but I remember there was 3 Overload Champions for the boss room. Like before you start the boss fight, there was 3 Overload Champions. Now, I could be wrong, alright? If they did take away 1 Overload Champion, then I have no complaints because it makes my life easier. It makes the fire team easier. And it just makes life easier. Once we do take down the Overload Champion, then we're going to be using our super. I do recommend to have your super because we really want to take down. We want to do as much DPS as we can when dealing with the boss. So right now I am going to spam my linear fusion rifle. I did as much damage as I can. And this is what you want. You want to use your super and then your linear fusion rifle until it is 1/3 of its health. You really want to go for that method and just be super aware of the arc captain. Now, the one thing I don't like about doing this method is the arc captain. If I don't take down the arc captain, he can't sneak up behind me. Now, I'm trying to remember if I did take down the arc captain while using my super, but it doesn't really work. But you can see here, always take down the arc captain. Especially if you are at this phase, the DPS phase, well, when cute adorable baby servitors spawn, try to be on the lookout of dealing with the art captain, because they're gonna be your worst enemy where it can mess up your solo run. And in my experience, I had times where I was careless and it one-shot me. And it was kind of sad. I mean, I was at the boss fight, the easiest part ever, and then I just get one-shot by an art captain because I was careless. It's just advice if you want to be careful for your solo run. Always take down the art captain after you do DPS and go for this phase, or if not, and you still need to do more DPS, then you need to look for the art captain and then do DPS at the boss. So now we're going to take down this cute, adorable, lovable, cuddable baby servitor, which is really sad. I mean, we had to take it down. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, they're cute, they're adorable, but we have no choice. We really need to take down this baby servitor so we can break the boss's shield. Alright, it's nothing we could do. I mean, I'm sorry. Sorry, baby servitor. My goodness, I feel horrible right now. I feel so guilty. But we're gonna Weavewalk so we can avoid the Arc Seekers, and then we're gonna go down to the basement. I'm just gonna call it the basement, to be honest. And we're gonna take down the Vandals, and then try our best to do DPS as much as we can for the boss. So I did Weavewalk just to avoid the Arc Seekers, and yes, they sometimes sneak up on you. So on purpose, I did use Weavewalk, and I wanted to get threatenings. So I want to use my linear fusion rifle to deal with the boss. And I'm just trying to avoid the void attack. So once we do enough DPS, now we gotta go really fast to deal with the Overlord champions. Now I'm gonna be completely honest, I got extremely lucky. You guys know me. I always get the worst luck dealing with Overlord champions. No matter what I do, I get the worst luck. Now for some reason this footage, maybe because I'm a Strand Warlock, I'm not sure. Maybe Bungie is feeling pity for me because of 3 battlegrounds for this season. I actually got 2 of them in one go with the Overlord champions, which is really rare, to be honest. This never really happens to me, but if it happens to you, take advantage of it and just use your super, use your linear as much as you can. Now the scary part for this footage is I actually had no linear. If you look at the bottom, I got no linear. I really don't want to let go of this Overlord champion. And this is me being stubborn. And then the worst part is I had 2 of them. And I said to myself, no, I gotta take down these Overlord champions because it's 2 of them. And it was just horrible. I mean, I was panicking, and yes, I know, Blitz, why did you use your super near the window? Because I was desperate, alright? I mean, 2 Overlord champions in one go. I mean, this is extremely rare. This never happens to me. But the good news is, even though I did use my super, and it didn't really work 100%, the threatenings actually went through the windows and was doing DPS at the Overlord champions, which you guys saw. So I didn't waste my super. I did kind of hurt myself, you know, poor Guardian, poor Warlock, but the good news is we took down the Overlord champions, and now the best thing is we could just take our time, pick up heavy ammo with shoot to loot with our kinetic, and then we could just do DPS at the Overlord champion. Well, we could do DPS at the final boss. I mean, isn't that great? We just have to take down these cute, adorable, lovable baby servitors. They're just so cute. I just want to let Monarque and just spam it. They're so cute that I just want to buy a little plush doll, and I did. I actually got 2 though. I was gonna buy 2 more, but I got sold out, and I was so sad. Alright, so sadly, unfortunately, we gotta take down the last baby servitor. Now these ads were shooting a lot of arc, so I was being extremely careful because my health was on half. So we are finally going to take down this boss and I'm super excited for it. I want to double check the basement, by the way. And everything is good to go because I mean sometimes you have ads at the basement floor, so I want to make sure I clear them down before I take down this cute adorable servitor. Once I take down the baby servitor, the boss will teleport from the back. I use my super, and yes, I should have went a little bit more outside and then back away and then use my linear, but doesn't really matter. I mean, the boss is almost dead. So right now I'm just trying my best to do Monarque and clear these ads and then try to use my linear fusion rifle to do DPS. You could also use your melee if you do have enough, which I didn't really do so much for this part. You can use melee at the boss to do additional damage as well. I didn't, but highly recommend if you do have melee. You can see here the last minute I did use my melee, so just spam Monarque, take down the boss, and we're gonna get platinum rank. So we finally got platinum, and as I said guys, you can skip the first Overload champion and still get platinum. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.